The revolutionary act of self-love, how prioritizing yourself can change the world. Welcome to a transformative journey that begins with you. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that's both deeply personal and universally relevant. It's a conversation that might make you uncomfortable, challenge your beliefs, and ultimately change your life. I'm thrilled to share with you the profound insights I've gained from an extraordinary individual who's dedicated her life to helping others find their worth. Meet Daryl Embry-Rogers, a licensed professional counselor and the visionary founder of Life. Love Yourself, First Every Day, LLC. Daryl isn't just another voice in the crowded self-help arena. She's a beacon of hope for those drowning in self-doubt, a straight-talking guide for the lost, and a revolutionary thinker in the field of mental health. Her mission? To spark a global revolution of self-love, one person at a time. Now, I know what you're thinking. Self-love? Isn't that just a trendy buzzword? Well, buckle up because we're about to challenge everything you thought you knew about loving yourself. Let's start with a question that might make you squirm in your seat. When was the last time you truly, deeply, unapologetically loved yourself? And I'm not talking about a fleeting moment of pride after a job well done. I'm talking about a consistent, unwavering appreciation for who you are, flaws and all. If you're struggling to answer, you're not alone. We're facing what Daryl calls a crisis of self-love, and it's having devastating effects on our mental health, our relationships, and our society as a whole. Think about it. We live in a world where we're more connected than ever, yet feelings of isolation and loneliness are at an all-time high. We're constantly bombarded with images of perfect lives on social media, leaving us feeling inadequate and unworthy. We're chasing likes, followers, and validation from others while neglecting the most important relationship we'll ever have, the one with ourselves. But here's where it gets interesting. Daryl isn't peddling some quick fix solution or a one-size-fits-all approach. No, she's advocating for something far more radical, a complete paradigm shift in how we view ourselves and our worth. Let's break this down. Daryl's approach, encapsulated in the acronym LIFE, Love Yourself First Every Day, isn't just catchy, it's revolutionary. It's about making self-love a daily practice, as essential as brushing your teeth or checking your emails. But here's the kicker. It's not about narcissism or self-indulgence. It's about building a foundation of self-worth so solid that external validation becomes the cherry on top, not the whole sundae. Now, I know some of you might be rolling your eyes. Easy for her to say. You might be thinking, she's successful. She's got it all figured out. But that's where you'd be wrong. Daryl's journey to self-love wasn't a walk in the park. It was more like a trek through a minefield of self-doubt, societal expectations, and personal setbacks. Picture this. A young, ambitious woman, fresh out of college, ready to take on the world. She lands her dream job, climbs the corporate ladder at breakneck speed. From the outside, she's the poster child for success. But inside, she's crumbling. The pressure to perform, to be perfect, to never show weakness is eating her alive. Sound familiar? This was Daryl's reality. She was so busy trying to prove her worth to others that she forgot to value herself. It took a complete burnout. A moment where she found herself staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering where it all went wrong, for her to realize something had to change. And here's where it gets good. Instead of just pushing through, instead of slapping on a fake smile and soldiering on like society often tells us to do, Daryl did something radical. She stopped. She sought help. She started the messy, uncomfortable, absolutely necessary work of learning to love herself. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about quitting your job, moving to a mountaintop, and chanting mantras all day. It's about integrating self-love into your daily life, no matter how chaotic or demanding it might be. It's about setting boundaries, practicing self-compassion, and yes, sometimes saying no to others so you can say yes to yourself. Daryl's approach is refreshingly practical. She talks about starting small. Maybe it's looking in the mirror each morning and saying one kind thing to yourself. Maybe it's taking 5 minutes to breathe deeply and check in with your emotions. Or maybe it's finally booking that appointment with the therapist you've been putting off. Speaking of therapy, let's tackle that elephant in the room, shall we? There's still a stigma around seeking professional help, especially in certain communities. But Daryl is on a mission to change that. She says, and I quote, "Seeking counseling isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of incredible strength and self-awareness." Think about it. We go to the gym to keep our bodies healthy. We see dentists to keep our teeth in check. Why on earth wouldn't we do the same for our minds? Our mental health is just as important, if not more so, than our physical health. yet we often neglect it until we're in crisis mode. Dario's work is about prevention as much as it is about cure. It's about building mental resilience, emotional intelligence, and self-awareness before you hit that breaking point. It's about creating a toolkit of self-love practices that you can draw on when life throws you a curveball. And let's face it, life is pretty good at throwing curveballs. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, but I don't have time for self-love. I've got bills to pay, kids to raise, a career to build. And to that, Dario would say, you don't have time not to love yourself. Because here's the truth bomb. When you love yourself, when you prioritize your mental and emotional well-being, everything else in your life improves. Your relationships deepen. Your work becomes more fulfilling. You become more resilient in the face of challenges. But let's get real for a second. This journey isn't always sunshine and rainbows. Dario is refreshingly honest about the challenges. Learning to love yourself can be uncomfortable. It can mean confronting past traumas, challenging deeply ingrained beliefs, and sometimes disappointing others as you set healthy boundaries. But as Dario puts it, the discomfort of growth is far better than the pain of staying stuck. One of the most powerful moments in our conversation was when Dario shared a technique she uses with her clients. She calls it the future self dialogue. Imagine sitting down with your future self, the you that has mastered self-love, that has achieved your dreams, that is living a life of purpose and fulfillment. What would that future you say to your current self? What advice would they give? What reassurances would they offer? This exercise isn't just feel-good fluff. It's a powerful way to tap into your own wisdom, to connect with your deepest desires and values. It's about creating a vision of yourself that you can grow into, a North Star to guide you on your journey of self-love. But here's where Dario's approach really sets itself apart. She emphasizes that self-love isn't just about feeling good. It's about doing good for yourself and for others. When you truly love yourself, you're in a much better position to show up authentically in the world, to contribute meaningfully, to lift others up. Think about it. How many times have you held back from pursuing a dream, speaking up in a meeting, or taking a risk because of self-doubt? How often have you dimmed your light to make others comfortable? Self-love gives you the courage to be fully, unapologetically you. And that, my friends, is how we change the world, one authentic, self-loving individual at a time. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but where do I start? Well, Dario has some practical advice for that too. She suggests starting with a simple daily practice. Each morning, before you check your phone, before you jump into your to-do list, take a moment to check in with yourself. Ask yourself, how am I feeling today? What do I need? How can I show myself love today? It might feel awkward at first. You might draw a blank, but stick with it. Over time, you'll develop a deeper connection with yourself, a better understanding of your needs and desires. And from that place of self-awareness, you can start making choices that align with your true self, not just with what you think others expect of you. Dario also emphasizes the importance of community in this journey. While self-love is an internal process, having a support system can make all the difference. This could be a therapist, a coach, a support group, or even just a few close friends who are also committed to personal growth. As Dario puts it, we heal in community, we grow in community, don't try to go it alone. Now, let's address another common misconception, that self-love is selfish. Dario couldn't disagree more. She argues that self-love is actually the foundation for genuine altruism. When you're secure in your own worth, when you're not constantly seeking validation from others, you're able to give more freely, more authentically. You're able to support others without depleting yourself. Think of it like the oxygen mask principle on airplanes. You have to secure your own mask before helping others. Self-love is your oxygen mask. It ensures you have the resources, emotional, mental, and physical, to not just survive, but thrive and to lift others up along the way. Let me share with you a story that Dario told me, one that really drives home the transformative power of self-love. It's about a client of hers. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah was a high-powered executive, always put together on the outside, but inside, she was falling apart. She was constantly battling feelings of inadequacy, pushing herself to the brink of exhaustion to prove her worth. One day, after a particularly grueling week, Sarah found herself in the emergency room with stress-induced chest pains. It was a wake-up call. She realized that her relentless pursuit of external validation was literally killing her. That's when Sarah started working with Dario. At first, the idea of self-love felt foreign, even selfish to Sarah, but slowly she began to incorporate small acts of self-care into her daily routine. She started setting boundaries at work. She learned to say no to commitments that drained her. She began to prioritize her mental and physical health. The transformation was remarkable. Not only did Sarah's health improve, but her relationships deepened, her creativity flourished, and surprisingly, her career took off in ways she never expected. By valuing herself, she became more valuable to others. By taking care of herself, she had more to give to her team, her family, her community. Sarah's story is not unique. Dario has countless examples of how prioritizing self-love can lead to profound personal and professional growth. It's not about becoming selfish or narcissistic. It's about becoming whole, becoming the best version of yourself so that you can show up fully in the world. Now, I want to address something that might be on some of your minds. You might be thinking, sure, this self-love stuff sounds great for individuals, but how does it impact the bigger picture? How does it help solve the major problems we're facing as a society? Well, let me tell you, the implications are far-reaching. Imagine a world where people are no longer driven by insecurity, fear, and the need for external validation. Imagine leaders who make decisions from a place of self-assurance rather than ego. Imagine communities where people lift each other up instead of tearing each other down because they're secure in their own worth. This is the world that Dario envisions, and it starts with each of us making the radical decision to love ourselves first every day. It's not just about personal well-being. It's about creating a ripple effect that can transform our families, our workplaces, our communities, and ultimately, our world. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a challenge. It's the same challenge that Dario left me with, and it's one that I believe has the power to change lives. She said, I want people to feel like it's never too late to get started on becoming a better version of themselves. I want them to know that seeking professional counseling is okay. So here's my call to action for you. Start your journey of self-love today. Not tomorrow, not when you've achieved your goals, not when you've lost those 10 pounds or gotten that promotion. Today. Start small, but start now. Look in the mirror and say one kind thing to yourself. Take 5 minutes to do something solely because it brings you joy. Reach out to a friend or a professional if you're struggling. Remember, seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. And if you're thinking, but I'm too busy, too stressed, too set in my ways to change, I want you to pause and ask yourself this. Can you really afford not to love yourself? Can you afford to keep putting yourself last, to keep running on empty, to keep seeking validation from everyone but yourself? The journey of self-love isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. As Dario Embry-Rogers has shown us, when we commit to loving ourselves first, every day, we don't just change our own lives, we change the world around us. We become beacons of authenticity, resilience, and compassion in a world that desperately needs more of all three. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. You are not just worthy of love. You are love itself. Your journey of self-love is not just a personal indulgence. It's a radical act of courage that has the power to inspire and uplift others. It's time to embrace that power, to step into your full, authentic self, and to make loving yourself a non-negotiable part of your daily life. Remember, it's life. Love yourself first, every day. Not just when it's convenient, not just when you ticked everything off your to-do list, but every single day. Because you, my friend, are worth it. And the world needs the unique magic that only you, fully embracing and loving yourself, can bring. Are you ready to join this revolution of self-love? Are you ready to challenge the status quo, to prioritize your mental health, to become the best version of yourself? The choice is yours. But know this, you're not alone. There's a whole community out there, including amazing professionals like Dario Embry-Rogers, ready to support you every step of the way. And let's make self-love not just a personal practice, but a global movement. Let's create a world where loving yourself isn't seen as selfish, but as essential. A world where mental health is prioritized, where authenticity is celebrated, where each person's unique light is allowed to shine brightly. It starts with you. It starts today. It starts now. Love yourself first every day and watch as that love transforms not just your life, but the world around you. Thank you.